Wolfenstein was a good game. So it stands to reason this should be a good game, right? It is. It's also harder. This is Wolfenstein 2, the new Colossus. Enjoy. Well, you know, if you're not too busy having your ass kicked by it. It's been ages since I've played the New Order, and I had to think back and ask someone else, was it really this hard? And yeah, I do remember dying a lot, but not this much. This game is brutally difficult. Brutally difficult. And if you're careful and you use cover, you get your ass handed to you. Because the only thing that seems to work in this game is this. You have to be fast, precise, and brutal. If you move into cover, the enemy will immediately move up and try and flank you. You back around a pillar or something similar, the enemy thinks nothing of coming round from behind and outflanking you. The enemies in this game are really smart, but they're not omniscient. They don't know where you are at all times. If you manage to lose them in the maze of scenery, you can come up behind them and deliver an axe blow to the head without them realising. It's that tough but fair balance that the game gets so right and what makes the combat feel so brilliant. Things get a lot easier once you have the shotgun, but until you get to the train, you'll have to make do without it. It's almost like playing Souls, except that it's faster and a first-person shooter. Now there are 7 difficulty settings: easy, lower medium, upper medium, hard, very hard, ultra hard, and are you fucking kidding me? That's the mode where you have only 1 life. My first playthrough was on setting 3 of 7 and it was still brutal. The game runs at a silky smooth 60 frames a second, even when there's a lot going on. A good thing too, since the game would probably be unplayable at this pace otherwise. Now you can stealth certain sections of this game, but there's no obligation. Some areas have a smattering of enemies that are either standing around or on patrol, and at the end of the area there'll be a commander. His job is to call in reinforcements if the alarm is triggered. So, if you stay quiet, you can quietly move around, assassinating one enemy after the other, and assassinating the commander at the end. If, however, you prefer to just go in guns blazing, you'll trip the alarm, the commander will call reinforcements, and the whole situation turns into a shooting gallery, effectively. You can play it however you want. You can do the quiet, stealthy thing, or you can just go in all guns blazing. The game lets you do whichever one you want. You do have to watch out for your axe bouncing off the door frames, though. Early on, the game makes you choose a character to sacrifice. It's the exact same decision you made in the first game in the exact same way. This changes which special weapon you get, either the remote napalm charges, or the modified laser. As well as which character survives in the story, of course. The game has a basic upgrade system, nothing too fancy, as well as perks that improve as you use them. Killing enemies with dual-wielded weapons improves the bonuses you get for killing while dual-wielded. In effect, you're rewarded for playing whichever way you want to play. I could say this game feels like it needs more weapons, but it's more like the kind of weapons you can carry around, because this game has about 3 heavy weapons, but if you have a heavy weapon in your hand and you want to switch to something else, you have to drop it. You've got no option. And of course you get the special weapon, either the explosives or the laser. But apart from that, your arsenal is restricted to pistols, submachine gun, assault rifle, shotgun, fairly standard stuff. I'd have appreciated some more unusual weapons, you know, maybe a disc blade gun or a lightning cannon or something like that. Just something to help vary up the type of weapons. I could also complain that the game is way too hard, but having played all the way through it and beaten it, I went back and played it through again, and it was nowhere near as hard the second time round. All that fighting through those difficult sections, it paid off. I was able to go through the easier sections effortlessly. I didn't encounter the same level of frustration the second time through. You just have to adapt to the way the game does things. Again, like Souls, you have to either step up or get your ass kicked. I'm glad they still have the conversations you can eavesdrop on. There's not a lot more to it, really. The story is good, the characters are great, not only your friendly characters, but also the enemy, General Engel in particular. She's brilliant as a bad guy and a good replacement for Death's Head from the first game. The game is a little on the short side, but it is a blast for as long as it lasts. The game attempts to pad its runtime with additional commander assassinations, but these take place in the same areas as the main game, they just have different enemy placement, otherwise there's no difference. There's also combat simulations, which is just playing parts of the games you already played, to get a high score on the leaderboards. And that's it. Extra content! And finally there's Freedom Chronicles, that appear to be proper additional missions. They're not actually available yet, there's not even a price on the PlayStation Store, but I'm assuming that it's 3 pieces of post-launch DLC, hopefully story-based stuff. Now this game took me about 13 hours to clear, but that was including all the restarts that I had. Goodness knows how many times I died in this game. The game gives you lots of kill statistics, but it doesn't tell you how often you died. I'd be fascinated to know how much of the game was taken up by that. What I can say is that the checkpoint in this system is very forgiving. If you drop dead, well, it's not a case of if, you will drop dead a lot. The checkpoint system means that you won't have to backtrack that far. I'd have also preferred the game's creators to make more game rather than using some of their time to create that padding. Maybe a bit more length to the story mission rather than just reusing existing bits. That would have been more welcome. Oh, and the final fight of the game? I didn't realise it was the final fight of the game. I was expecting, with a name like the new Colossus, I was expecting a big boss fight between me and General Engel. I was expecting her to get in this massive mech or walker or something, and we'd have this big fight that tops the first fight in the fight in the first game, I mean, between you and General Death's Head, where you had to call down the lightning to hit his mech. This didn't do that. You do kill her off, spoilers, but it was a bit of a lackluster end. I sort of see what they were doing. I just wish that she'd gotten a bigger send-off. She's a great character in this. She's intimidating, scary, and I just wish her end was more fitting. The final score for Wolfenstein 2, The New Colossus, is a 7 out of 10. It's a good game, it is. I love the characters in the game. There's not a huge amount of enemy diversity, but there's plenty of things to shoot, and that is effectively what this game is going for. It doesn't do anything particularly innovative. And yeah, it is a bit on the short side, but for as long as it lasts, it's a hell of a ride, and it's one that I'm very glad that I took. Maybe in the future they might want to concentrate more on just doing the story missions rather than trying to put side content in though, yeah. Might be an idea. And I'll tell you something else this game does very well. You have to fight, as I've already said, brutally. You have to match the Nazis' brutality in this game. You have to step up to the challenge. And unlike most games that would either lower the enemy's skill or make your allies, the allies around you fighting alongside you, a bit crap to make you look better, this game forces you to step up. It forces you to adopt the same tactics that arguably Blazkowicz would use himself. It forces you to effectively adopt that persona, and so by the end of the game you'll be in no doubt that Terror Billy has earned his reputation. So that's Wolfenstein 2, The New Colossus. 7 out of 10, good game, quite glad I played it, bit on the short side, but it's definitely enjoyable. You will throw your controller in frustration though, be warned. It is an immensely frustrating and brutally difficult game. Be prepared for that. If that's not the kind of thing you like, stay away. It's an excellent first person shooter, but really hard. Be warned. See you next time.